My name is Sidra Bell, and I'm the artistic director of Sidra Bell Dance New York. I started my training when I was 8 years old at Dance Theater of Harlem. I actually started choreographing in high school, doing little solos on myself and practicing in my living room floor, making little combinations of things. And then for college, I decided to go away and step away from dance for a few years, and I went to Yale, and I got a degree in history. My first show was put up the year after I graduated from Yale in a community center in Harlem, and I actually used my father as the musical director, so we had live jazz and dance. And then took another divergence and got my MFA from Purchase College in choreography, and continued to make work, and it's kind of unfolded from there. So I've had a number of different pathways to where I am now. And I love the pathways because it's really kind of informed my philosophy about dance. It's pretty open and broad-based. Well, growing up in New York, I went to independent high school, like private high school. And I always had this push-pull with academia and art somehow. So I would run from school. I went to the Spence School on the Upper East Side, to the Ailey School, and take classes all night. So I had this like double life. When I was applying to colleges, I had the same kind of push-pull of, I got into these schools, Ivy League schools, and then I also got into like Tisch and Purchase, and it was a huge, horrible choice to have to make. But I thought, I think there's only one time to really do college in a certain way, like have that kind of social life and be, you know, quote unquote normal. And not only that, just having the opportunity to study with world-class like people in the academic world. And then history was something I'd always been interested in. I was always interested in culture and language, and I love writing, looking at different ways of life. And so that was kind of what drew me to history. I never wanted to be a history teacher necessarily. I just always had a love of learning. Also, you know, literature I love as well. I never was good at math, but just the study of other cultures was always really big. And I think it informs my work subtly, just being open and being able to communicate my ideas through writing and also verbally. When I teach, I feel it coming out just in who I am. It's not like I'm pulling out facts. I don't think the facts stayed with me from school. It's more like how to deal with people that stayed. I guess dance was always waiting for me on the other side. I didn't know it concretely. I knew that I had a place in it somehow, and I wanted to make changes in the dance world and be someone that could be like a mover and a shaker in my quiet way, and bring dance to people, like I said. I love form and I love movement, and it's I like complex movement. I like the architecture of movement and virtuosic, making virtuosic phrases. It's more important that people are able to articulate why dance is important, how to approach choreography. Just the intelligence behind it is really important to me. So I do a lot of writing, actually, and still trying to evolve, like how I talk about my own work, and the words I use in communicating it. It's really important to me that the intellect is there. In your young life, I think there's a moment where you put barriers up, because I've taught like right below that age, like 10, 11, and they're just, you know, they're so excited, and the love of learning and kind of the freedom is still there, and the lack of judgment. I think when judgment comes into play, that's when artistry kind of gets stunted. I think it can be recaptured. Artistry is really what we're after now, not the homogenous look or the homogenous, you know, dancers being on autopilot. I think that if there were more opportunities for dancers to be creative, young dancers, it would lessen that psychology. The most interesting performers are the ones that can take material and then make it their own and insert themselves into it. And that's what I'm constantly trying to tell my students is that, yeah, I'm giving you vocabulary and I'm giving you tasks and ideas, but the most important thing is that you come through in it, because when it boils down to it, we're really interested in your humanity, not just the execution of steps. And I think through being an individual with the material becomes like larger than life and a lot more expansive and interesting to watch, because you're pushing the envelope physically and also intellectually. It's not about the steps, it's really about the ideas behind the steps and the logic behind the steps. The logic kind of creates this world that we want to look at. Not the form is not so interesting, actually. It's you in the form that's fascinating.